Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. Hello, art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M, and I'm back with yet another video. It's been a little while. The last time we did a coffee break, it was 2 weeks ago. Okay, all right, 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. I promised a video a week, and I've goofed again. But here I am again. Okay, with another video, and today, what are we gonna do today? Today, we're gonna talk about Dr. Strangelove, or as I like to call it, Dr. Strangelove. Y'all just scolded the living beans out of me, for not having watched Dr. Strangelove yet, and guess what? I did. I watched Dr. Strangelove. And I have some things to say. Yes, I do. Yes, I absolutely do. Was it the viewing experience that I thought it would be? Absolutely not. Not even close. I didn't know that it would make me angry. I did not. I know, it says here, what does it say here? Is a political satire black comedy film. That's what it says on the Wikipedia page. And some of y'all, and I don't remember exactly who, but I remember you guys said that I would enjoy the humor. Y'all, I didn't laugh once. I did not. But before we get into any of that, let me do my intro, church announcements, whatever. So welcome back, everybody. It is time. It is time to fire up the percolator. All right, go get your coffee or your tea or your latte, iced latte, or your cream tea if you're English and you're into that kind of thing, or your Coca-Cola poured over crushed ice with a wedge lemon and a straw, to, so it's fancy. And yeah, they do mention Coca-Cola in Strangelove, and it's interesting. It's all very, very interesting, by the way. And I don't know I've only watched it once, so I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna come back to it, but I don't quite know what to think. Yeah, but anyway, fire up the percolator, get your drinks, warm or cold drinks. It's really none of my business. Whether it's coffee or coffee-based or something else, that's none of my business. Get a snack, do whatever you want, find a nice comfortable place to sit, or lie down, or not. Maybe you're doing chores and you're listening to me. That like Richard, you said you were changing brake pads. Hey, if that's what if I help you get through some horrible chore like changing brake pads or or cleaning the stove or whatever, I'm very happy to do that for you. But we have much to discuss. And I think I watched last night, Richard, I watched your video about Dr. Strangelove's 60th anniversary. I finally got around to it after all these months of being in a real deep funk. A really cute video, really nice video. And you highlighted in your video, please do go watch Richard Tankard of Tales Stashy's videos, all of them, at least once, preferably twice, but all of them. And he seemed to be fascinated by the fact that Peter Sellers plays 3 roles, as it says here. Peter Sellers as Lionel Mandrake, Merkin Muffley, and the titular Dr. Strangelove. Yeah, and you compare it to Lolita, where or what's his face, Sellers plays, essentially like multiple roles, even though he isn't billed as playing really 3 different roles or however many different roles in Lolita. And again, if I hear one more person, if I read one more article where somebody calls our Stanley a misogynist, I'm gonna flip my lid, and there will be I will make a video to end all the videos. Kind of like Dr. Strangelove, I'm gonna engage the doomsday machine, but intellectually, not really. So anyway, get your Get your coffee stuff or your beverages together. Get comfortable or don't. It's up to you. It is time for us to discuss a one-sided discussion, but you'll hear me and you'll have thoughts about this movie. I am confused. I do not know. I mean, I have an idea of what to think. I think I have an idea of what Stanley was trying to accomplish with this movie. But of course one can never be entirely sure. So I've got, look at all my tabs, y'all. Look at all my tabs. I got the Dr. Strangelove Wikipedia. Okay. And I've got, look at me. Look at how awesome I am. I got, I'm scrolling like a maniac. Good Lord. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. The Dr. Strangelove script. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And it's got everything. I think I'll put a link to the, script. It's if you like, there's other copies that are like hard to read. I found this one with nice clear print. All right, the Dr. Strangelove script. Of course, I watched the thing, and we're going to talk about Dave Grohl. We sure are. We're going to talk about Dave Grohl because Dave Grohl, people like Dave Grohl. I'm going to say it right now. All right, I'm going to say it right now. People like men like Dave Grohl is the reason why Stanley, our Stanley, there he is. People like Dave Grohl is the reason why our Stanley made this movie. All right. It says comedy, black comedy, whatever that means, black comedy. Black humor, bleak comedy, dark comedy, gallows humor, morbid humor. There's no humor of any kind here. There's no gallows humor. There's no morbid humor. I don't think there's any humor, period. I can understand people like hearing the one-liners in the movie and laughing. I get it. They're clever. They really are. But there's nothing funny about this movie. Stanley is addressing a very serious issue. Okay? He is addressing an extremely serious issue. And once again, this kind of fits in with like my overall view of Stanley Kubrick's work. He is addressing all of human evolution since day one. Since, like, going back to prehistory. I'm reiterating that because I believe it now more than ever. All right. He is saying with this movie, Strangelove, and all of his other movies, he's saying something is wrong. Something is very deeply and terribly wrong with the world and the people in it. And maybe not people like you and me. We're ordinary people. We're ordinary people. We're just doing the damn thing. Me and probably a whole bunch of you, you're going to get up tomorrow morning, put our clothes on, brush our teeth, get our coffee, get in the car and drive off to work, fight traffic. And, you already know I'm in Los Angeles. Get on that freeway, and go to work and do the thing. And so just so we can make enough money to live indoors. That's really it. That's what we do day in and day out. We're not pushing no buttons. We're not starting wars. We're not bothering anybody. We're just trying to make a living so we can buy horrible music by horrible people. Okay? I hope I don't offend anybody, but I never liked the Foo Fighters. Just between you and me, I never, even going back to the 90s, I never understood what the fascination was with this man and that horrible band of his. I mean, this latest, sex scandal and whatever, like, I don't even care about that. That's his business, that's his personal life. But how did he ever get famous? That's what I want to know. Immorality, and what him and his wife, and the wife probably knew for a long time about him being a pig. But, and she stayed for her own reasons. Why a lot of women stay with philanderers and people like him. Probably the money was pretty good. And we're going to talk about, in particular, I want to go through the characters, like these main characters in the movie. I'm not going to analyze anything visually. No. I'm going to analyze the character. Seems to me, maybe more so than most Stanley movies, this movie, Strangelove, is very heavily dialogue dependent. Like the words that are used in the dialogue. That's why I found the script. They're extremely important. They're extremely important. And the names of the characters are, oh my goodness, so important. And we'll go through it when we get there. I might have to take a little coffee break of my own, just to like get my head together before I start with this thing. I finally watched it. And you know my theory, you know my hypothesis that the Stanley Kubrick's movies are basically all about the atomic bomb. And you know, what doesn't matter what movie you're watching. Is it The Shining? Is it Full Metal? Is it Eyes Wide Shut? Is it Lolita? Is it probably Clockwork? I'm going to have to watch that one too. I'm terrified of that one. But probably that one too. Maybe Barry Lyndon, and Killer's Kiss, and whatever other movies. They're all, I think they're all, there's a theme in his movies. Even if it doesn't look like it's about the atomic bomb, it is. And that's that. But with Strangelove, of all the ones I've seen, 2001 too, you know, it looked, even if it doesn't, that's my theory, that's my little hypothesis, which I'm open to altering and modifying. I know I'm not perfect. I know that. But, you know, even if it doesn't look like it's about the atomic bomb or the Manhattan Project or the Cold War or the Doomsday Clock, hello, you know, how many minutes to midnight are we at right now? Who the hell knows? Even if it doesn't look like it's about the atomic bomb, it still is. With this movie, which is pretty obviously a Cold War movie and a comedy based on whatever was happening between the United States and the USSR and whatever during 1964. 1964? Hold on. Yes, it was released in 1964, so 1963. And what did you say, Richard, in your awesome video, that the release of this movie was delayed because of the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Oh my. So, you know, there's a lot to discuss, and it's a kind of a thing where it's like, where do you even begin? Because it's not like, it's hard to just zero in on one subject or one topic and stick to it when you're dealing with any Stanley Kubrick movie, and especially this one. This one is more complicated, in a sense, than even The Shining, because of the dialogue. The dialogue is terribly complicated, and they got one man playing like 3 different roles. Peter Sellers as Mandrake, Muffley, and Strangelove. Oh my goodness. So, you know, and this is James Earl Jones, God bless him, rest in peace, Mr. Jones, is in his film debut as Lieutenant Lothar Zog, the B-52's bombardier. Okay. Of course, we got Slim Pickens as Major T.J. King Kong. Okay, the B-52 bomber's commander and pilot. And what's that other dude? There's another one. Oh no. I can't. The other guy. Oh, co-pilot, Mr. Shane Rimmer as Captain Ace Owens. They're the guys in the plane. Okay. I want to talk maybe a little bit about that crew, but especially Kong, the Kong character. I really want to talk about Miss Scott. Okay, Miss Scott. This is Stanley communicating directly to women. All right. If I hear one more thing, if I read one more thing that says that Stanley Kubrick was a misogynist and a sexist film director, I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna scream. It's ridiculous. If anybody, what is wrong with people? You know? I mean, I wonder that a lot. What is wrong with people when they do these various analyses of movies and literature and whatever, and they you know, especially in the last, I don't know, couple of decades, oh, everything is sexist, everything is misogynist. nobody wants to address like the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to like acknowledge, not just address, but even acknowledge the presence of that the proverbial elephant in the room. No, absolutely not. I'm going to try and do that here today. So anyway, let me take a little break myself because this is heavy. Okay, this is heavy, and I'm connecting it to this dude for a reason. Okay, I'm connecting it. Foo Fighters, eh? Oh Lord, I don't know if like Dave McGowan wrote about this guy. I would have to check, but I wouldn't be surprised. Rest in peace, Mr. McGowan, if you are in fact dead. Okay, those of you who know, I know there's a good segment of my viewership that is real up on conspiracy theory literature. And yes, I said what I said. All right, now you can't do a damn thing about it. But anyway, so I'm going to have my own little cup of coffee, get my mouth ready to say everything that it is that I want to say. And like I said, it's hard to zero in with Strangelove or any Kubrick movie on one subject or one topic. I'm just going to start wherever. Thank you, Mr. Richland Law, for telling, like, Richland Law, he's got a very fine mind. And he's, I always wondered, what is it that I'm doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. But Richland Law said I'm doing the glass bead game. And then I looked it up and I said, oh my goodness, he's right. You start anywhere. You don't have to start from the beginning because there is no beginning and there is no end. You start anywhere and like you get going. All right. And that's how you learn. That's learning. That's how you get your edumacation. All right, guys, let's go have a cup of coffee. Go get your cup together, get your buns together, cinnamon rolls, whatever it is that you're into, and then we'll reconvene in a second. All right? Just a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back. Had my coffee and the whole thing. I still don't know what I'm going to say, but it's going to be something. Now, let's go to the Wikipedia page, right? Here we go. I think I've already read this to you in another video. I've already read the plot and the whole thing. I haven't had time to research Terry Southern, okay? But, it's based on the novel by Peter George. Let's look that up. Red Alert, really. Red Alert, Peter George. Okay, publication place, United Kingdom. A 1958 novel by Peter George about nuclear war. The book provided the underlying narrative structure. Structure, eh? Okay. For Stanley Kubrick's 1964 film Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Kubrick's film differs significantly. Are we surprised? Kubrick's film differs significantly from the novel in that the film is a black comedy. Okay. Originally published in the UK as 2 Hours to Doom, with George using the pseudonym Peter Bryant, Brian Peters for the French translations, 120 minutes pour sauver le monde. The novel deals with the apocalyptic threat of nuclear war and the almost absurd ease with which it can be triggered. A genre of such topical fiction, of which Red Alert was among the earliest examples that sprung up in the late 1950s, led by Nevil Shoots on the Beach. Okay. Eugene Burdick and Harvey Wheeler's later bestseller, Failsafe, so closely resembled Red Alert in its premise that George sued on the charge of copyright infringement, resulting in an out-of-court settlement. Both novels would go on to inspire very different films that would both be released in 1964 by the same studio, Columbia Pictures. We're going to talk about Columbia. We sure are. Look at this. No, not this. This. Oof. Mr. Kubrick makes a point. I mean, did he put that there because he had to? because he had no choice but to put the Columbia name and the Columbia lady there. I don't know, but she's important. She fits right in to the movie. Anyway, let me see what he was like. Oh, Peter George, born in 1924 in Treorchy, Rhondda, Wales, and died aged 42 in Hastings, East Sussex, in England. He was a flight lieutenant and navigator for the Royal Air Force during World War II, serving with number 255 Squadron RAF, flying night fighter missions over Malta and Italy. He rejoined the RAF, serving at RAF Neatishead and as a fighter controller, where he often wrote while on duty and used a pseudonym. He retired from the service in 1961. Now, this last line tells you what happened to him. It's not good. Poor man. And that's all we know about him. And this is the person who wrote the book that the movie is based on. Oh my God. Oh my God. You're going to have to look this up on your own. This is not good. This is not good. You know. Are we dealing with another, like, kind of unreliable author? I don't know. I really don't know. But here we go, back to Dr. Strangelove. The film, which satirizes the Cold War fears of a nuclear conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States, also stars George C. Scott, Sterling Hayden, etc., etc., based on the novel Red Alert, and who co-wrote the screenplay with Kubrick and Terry Southern. Oh, let's see what happened to Terry Southern. Why not? Oh dear, he was 71 when he died. Lord, he's from Texas. All right. And notable works: Candy, The Magic Christian, and Blue Movie. Oh boy. Oh boy. Southern was an American novelist, essayist, screenwriter, and university lecturer, noted for his distinct satirical style, part of the Paris post-war literary movement in the 1950s, and a companion to beat writers in Greenwich Village. Southern was also at the center of swinging London in the 1960s and helped to change the style and substance of American films in the 1970s. He briefly wrote for Saturday Night Live in the 1980s. Okay, Southern's dark and often absurdist style of satire helped to define the sensibilities of several generations of writers, readers, directors, and filmgoers. He is credited by journalist Tom Wolfe as having invented new journalism with the publication of Twirling at Ole Miss in Esquire in February 1963. Southern's reputation was established with the publication of his comic novels Candy and The Magic Christian, and through his gift for writing memorable film dialogue, as evident in Dr. Strangelove, The Loved One, The Cincinnati Kid, and The Magic Christian. His work on Easy Rider helped create the independent film movement of the 1960s. Okay, let me skip down to Strangelove. Oh, look at this. Southern's life and career changed irrevocably on November 2nd, 1962, when he received a telegram inviting him to come to London to work on the screenplay of Kubrick's new film, which was in pre-production. Well. Okay. Partly on the recommendation of Peter Sellers, Stanley Kubrick asked Southern to help revise the screenplay of Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. The film was based on the Cold War thriller Red Alert by Peter George, the rights to which Kubrick had secured for $3,000. Kubrick and George's original screenplay, which was to be called Edge of Doom, was a straight political thriller. They then reworked it into a satirical format, provisionally titled A Delicate Balance of Terror, in which the plot of Red Alert was situated as a film within a film made by an alien intelligence. Lord, wow. Well, that's interesting. Southern's work on the project was brief but intense. He officially worked on the script from November 16th to December 28th, 1962. Southern began to rely on the amphetamine barbiturate diet pill Dexamyl to keep him going through the frantic rewriting process. In later years, he developed a long-term amphetamine dependency. His amphetamine abuse, combined with his heavy intake of alcohol and other drugs, contributed significantly to health problems in later life. Okay. The major change Southern and Kubrick made was to recast the script as a black comedy, jettisoning the film within a film structure. Kubrick, George, and Southern shared the screenplay credits, but competing claims about who contributed what led to confusion and some conflict among the three men after the film's release. Oh, of course, there's always drama. So by the time Stanley got to Sneezy, he was used to the nonsense. He was used to the bull hunkery. Let's put it that way. So Sneezy probably was like, but like, think about it for a second. Like, he worked with Southern. He worked with, what is it, Peter George. Did he work with Peter George? Hold on. Okay, no. Okay, so Kubrick and George's original screenplay. Okay, so they were duking it out about, like, competing claims about who contributed what led to the confusion and some conflict among the three men after the film's release. Okay, see, but he dealt with them. He dealt with George, he dealt with Southern, but he gave Mr. Sneezy the boot. Sent him packing back to America. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. The credit question was confused by Sellers' numerous ad-libbed contributions. He often improvised wildly on set, so Kubrick made sure that Sellers had as much camera coverage as possible during his scenes in order to capture these spontaneous inspirations. According to Art Miller, an independent producer who hired Southern to write the screenplay for a never-completed comic film about the bumbling Watergate burglars, Southern told him that the best example of his writing in Dr. Strangelove was the scene in which B-52 pilot T.J. King Kong, played by Slim Pickens, reads off a list of the contents of a survival kit to his crew, concluding that a man could have a pretty nice weekend in Vegas with some of the items. Yeah, that was funny. When the scene was shot, Pickens spoke the scripted line, Dallas, but the word Vegas was overdubbed during post-production because the film was released not long after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas in November 1963. Well. The more you know. My goodness. According to Miller, Peter Sellers quietly paid Southern tens of thousands of dollars to create some of the best-known comedy bits for Sellers' character, Inspector Clouseau, in the Pink Panther film series. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, so we're... Oh, this is what you were talking about, Richard. Southern also helped Sellers with dialogue coaching. Originally slated to play 4 roles, including that of the Texan B-52 bomber pilot Major Kong. By the way, Slim Pickens was not from Texas. He was from California. Just thought I should let you know that. The actor had difficulty mastering the accent. Southern, a native Texan, taped himself speaking Kong's lines for Sellers to study. Wow. Sellers, who had never been comfortable in the role of Kong, was able to extricate himself from the part after allegedly fracturing an ankle, forcing Kubrick to recast. The part eventually went to actor Slim Pickens, who Kubrick met during his brief stint working on Marlon Brando's One-Eyed Jacks. After the film went into wider release in January 1964, Southern was the subject of considerable media coverage and erroneously was given primary credit for the screenplay, a misperception he did little to correct. Oh my. This reportedly angered both Kubrick, who was notorious for his unwillingness to share writing credits, and Peter George, who penned a complaint to Life magazine in response to a lavish photo essay on Southern, published in the May 8, 1964 edition. Stung by the article's assertion that Southern was responsible for turning the formerly serious script into an original, irreverent, satirical film, George pointed out that he and Kubrick had been working together on the script for 10 months, whereas Southern was only briefly employed, November 16 through December 28, 1962, to do some additional writing. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Toward the end of his work on Dr. Strangelove, Southern began canvassing for more film work. Jobs he considered included proposed John Schlesinger's screen adaptation of the Iris Murdoch novel A Severed Head, and a project called The Marriage Game, to be directed by Peter Yates and produced by the James Bond team of Harry Saltzman and Cubby Broccoli. He also wrote an essay on John Fowles's novel The Collector, which led to his work as a script doctor on the subsequent screen version. Okay. That's it. That's all I'm going to read. I read enough. This is, oh my God, all the controversy regarding all of this stuff now. All of this stuff. I just don't know what to think. Now, let me get back to this here. Okay? Not Red Alert. No, not Red Alert. Dr. Strangelove. All right? That's why we're here. That's why I'm making this video. That's why you're having that coffee. Because I'm talking about Dr. Strangelove. I know that you all told me that I would laugh. I did not. The whole movie, from basically the very beginning until, what was it, the very end, with all the bombs dropping and everything, I was just horrified. Personally. I know it's supposed to be a comedy. But, like, maybe it's because, I don't know, why didn't I laugh? I laughed, like, one time when Slim Pickens was reading off that survival list of the, the survival kit. I didn't even laugh out loud. It was more like a guffaw. All right? And I said, what the hell is this? And maybe I felt that way because, like, I have a pretty good idea what Stanley's trying to accomplish in all of his movies, not just this one. And I said, oh my God, what is Stanley trying to do? I said, does Stanley Kubrick hate people? Does he just think that humankind is unsalvageable? Does he, I mean, again, I've been listening to a lot of music lately. I told you I was listening to Ministry, and oh yeah, I'm going to do, hello, where is it at? Hold on. Why is this thing so damn slow? Okay, I'm going to do a movie, a film, not a movie, a video about this song, Thieves. Okay? It's important. It's important. I think Al Jorgensen is in, like, the same level of genius as Stanley Kubrick. I really do. Every day really is Halloween. All right? But I've been, when I said, does Stanley Kubrick just think that humankind needs to be destroyed? Is that what he's talking about in Dr. Strangelove? And again, I've been listening to a lot of music. Pantera, the song Floods. Listen to it. Find the long version. It's worth it. It's 9 minutes or so, but it's definitely worth it. And that's what that song is about. Floods, like, the biblical, the deluge. Should we simply be done away with? This is heavy. This is heavy. This is not easy to process. Not even a little bit. And like I said, I think all of Stanley Kubrick's movies, or maybe just the majority of them, I think they all have to do with the atomic bomb, or the creation of the atomic bomb, or the use of the atomic bomb, or the characters that were involved, like Oppenheimer, like Leslie Groves, like whoever, Richard Feynman, whoever, that were involved in the Manhattan Project, and then the aftermath of World War II, the atomic age, as it's called, and then, the atomic bomb still exists. We still argue about who has access, which country, the governments of this world argue about which country does or should have access to fissile materials that can be used to make an atomic bomb. and all the stuff we're still talking about in the year 2024. It is still a concern. It is still a concern. And you would think, okay, that I would watch this movie and I would say, of course it's about the atomic bomb. It kind of is. But it's the one of his movies that is the least about the atomic bomb and its creation and its use and the aftermath and the Cold War and the whole thing. This, I would, if I was being like, you know, bombastic, I would say it has nothing to do with the atomic bomb. Dr. Strangelove, it's not about the atomic bomb. If I was gonna be like really like, you know, slap up the wall, I mean, I'm tempted to go there. I'm tempted to go there and say, yeah, this movie, all of his other movies might be about the atomic bomb, but not this one. I'm tempted to go there, but I don't know if I'm not sure yet. That's why I'm being cautious in my statements. I'm not sure yet. Is it about the atomic bomb? Or is it about human beings? And like, what the hell is wrong with us? You know, I don't know where to begin. I really don't know where to begin. I kind of wanted to just go down here to the cast, yeah, and talk about the different characters, the ones that I found interesting. There's Peter Sellers' characters, Lionel, Group Captain Lionel Mandrake, a British RAF exchange officer. Mandrake is like the best person of all of them. At least the people who are like in government. Maybe, you know, I'm not talking about the pilots and the ones piloting the B-52. No, I'm talking about the people in the war room. I don't think we ever see. If I'm mistaken, please do correct me. But I don't think we ever see Mandrake in the war room. And of course we can't see him in the war room because of his name. Mandrake is like some kind of herb. All right? And its use is goes back to ancient times, if I'm not mistaken. It is a sedative, and it also has to do with improving or supporting fertility for women, to make it easier for women to conceive and whatever. That's what I've read about Mandrake. All right, that's what they named this guy. And you know, he's the voice of reason. He's looking around him. He's dealing with Brigadier General Jack D. Ripper, and he's like, yeah, Jack D. Ripper's, you know, he's crazy. And Mandrake has to be in the room with him and talk with him and try to talk some sense into him. And if you've seen the movie, you realize, yeah, Mandrake is unsuccessful. And then here comes, what's his face? Keenan Wynn as Colonel, Bat Guano. Okay, Bat Guano is used to make gunpowder. Isn't it? Once again, the army officer who finds Mandrake and Ripper. And the dialogue between Colonel Guano and Mandrake is very interesting. And then we got Sellers' other character, President of the United States in the movie, Merkin Muffley. Okay, y'all know what a merkin is, right? Do I have to say? I guess I do. I mean, a merkin is like a toupee for a woman's private parts. All right. And what's interesting is Merkin Muffley. Oh my God. He's bald. If anybody could use a toupee, it's him, but for his head. But a merkin is traditionally a toupee for a lady's private parts because, you know, maybe she shaved off all the hair. And this started, when was it? During, like the 17th century, I think. And merkins were used to cover the private parts of a woman who had either shaved off all her hair down there or to cover up the appearance or the physical manifestations of syphilis. So what that tells you is merkins were invented, maybe not primarily, but seems like in large part to help women who were prostitutes cover up signs of sexually transmitted disease in their private parts. So are they saying that, merkin is the toupee itself? A merkin is the toupee that covers up the vagina, and the vagina is diseased, or, something's going on. So is that what Stanley is telling us about the United States? It's a hoe. It's a syphilitic prostitute. the United States at that time in history, that the United States is a disease riddled prostitute that needs her private parts need to be covered up because they're ghastly. Is that what he thinks of the United States? Oh my God! All right. Now the third. The third character that Peter Sellers plays, Dr. Strangelove, merkwürdig, Gleibe. No, I can't do it. Merkwürdig Liebe. Sorry. The wheelchair-bound nuclear war expert and former Nazi who has alien hand syndrome. Okay. All right. This one is the one that gets like the least amount of screen time, actually. And when you see Dr. Strangelove, whose first name we don't know. All right. We know Lionel is a Mandrake's name. Lionel comes from lion. So like the Mandrake character is fighting like a lion to stop General Ripper's madness. All right. Merkin, that's his first name. That's not his last name. Merkin's name is not his Merkin is not his surname. Merkin is his first, that's his Christian name. Okay. Oh my God, Stanley, what'd you do? No, with Dr. Strangelove, we don't even get to know his first name. It's just Dr. Strangelove. And in the movie, he tells us what it was originally in German. So he changed his name from German to the translation in English, Strangelove. Strangelove. Huh. Okay. And he's in a wheelchair. And we find out in the movie that the wheelchair thing might be an act. Because somehow he's able to stand up at the end. A miracle, eh? A nuclear war expert and former Nazi. Listen, all the reading that I've been doing because of The Shining, and I believe The Shining is really about the Manhattan Project, there was like a serious arms race between the Germans and the Americans when the atomic bomb was being created. The Manhattan Project, that time period. And I think maybe a little before. Like that was the point. I think it might have been at least part of the point. The initiation of the Manhattan Project was to beat the Germans to the punch. And a lot of what seems to me anyway, now don't quote me, but it seems to me that a lot of the research and the stuff that was used to create the atomic bomb successfully in the United States came from either German or Japanese sources. Okay, make of that what you will. Make of it what you will. And now it says former Nazi. I don't know about this former part. He seems like he's still true blue. Strangelove. Dr. Strangelove is still true blue to what do they call it in the Clash, right? In that song, This Is Radio Clash. So Strangelove is still very, very loyal and faithful to what the Clash call the Nazi ghettoology. Okay, they have classified human beings. They have a taxonomy of human beings. The Nazis did, and that spirit of what they were up to leading up to the Second World War, and probably since, because I don't think it stopped in Germany. I think they're all over the world. I think that these people who did what was done under the banner of Nazism during the Second World War, I don't think it was just German people. I think it was like everywhere. And that's partially what Stanley is telling us. Okay, so the United States, yeah, you've all heard of Project Paperclip. So is Dr. Strangelove supposed to represent somebody like Werner von Braun? I don't know. But like whatever was going on in Germany and under the flag or under the banner of Nazism, it ain't over. And that, I think that's part of what Stanley is trying to tell us. I've even seen shades of that message in Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill. That whatever is going on in Kill Bill, whatever that movie is really about, I think I know what it's really about, but again, I'm not a perfect human being. I'm flawed. I make mistakes too. But whatever the Kill Bill is really about, there's a connection to this here. The people that Dr. Strangelove is representing. And, not the Nazis is just one disguise they wear. I think there are many, personally. Okay, and he has alien hands syndrome. Okay, whatever. Now, again, he's acting wheelchair bound. He's not really disabled. He's not really handicapped or crippled or whatever you want to call it. Him and what he represents. It's not about him and his physical body. It's about what him and his physical body represent. Whatever is going on with the Nazis or was going on with the Nazis or is and was going on with whatever group of people or whatever like class of people are connected to this. He's not handicapped. He can stand up. So this, he's faking being disabled so that people will not be afraid of him and will not be suspicious of him. That's what Strangelove is doing. And if you look at the character's physical presentation, he's wearing those sunglasses. There's really no reason to wear sunglasses in the war room. There's no sun anywhere. But, is he talking about like that, again, that Nazi symbol, the black sun? Is that why he's wearing sunglasses? I don't know. He's wearing at least in black and white film, it looks like a black glove on his right arm. The one he uses to salute Hitler. The Sieg Heil. Okay, what's up with that? Why is there a black glove on that hand? There's that's one thing. The sunglasses, the black glove, and the hair. Good Lord in heaven, the hair. The Strangelove's hairdo is straight out of the 1920s. All right. He looks like he could be in like, what the hell was that movie? I'm blanking. I'm so sorry. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. He looked like he could, I wish I could remember the name. The actor, Conrad Veidt. Is it Veidt? I think so, yes. And he played like the sleepwalker, the somnambulist, Cesar in Caligari. Like, Strangelove looks like he would fit into that movie just perfectly. And like that artsy, trendy hair that men were doing at the time. Or even like somebody like Friedrich Nietzsche. Like, that's what that hairdo reminds me of. Make of that what you will. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me look something up. Okay, cool. So next on the list, we got General Buck. Really? Turgidson, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Okay, that's what Okay, who is it now? I really don't care. I don't know, and I don't care who the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is now. I don't. But Stanley is like, if you've seen this movie, and I assume you have, that's why you're watching this video of mine. But like, you look at the Buck Turgidson character, General, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's nothing to sneeze at. He's achieved a great deal. But you look at the character played by George C. Scott. Like, I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't trust General Buck Turgidson to guard a lamppost. I would not. He would ruin that too. He is not to be trusted. He's he can't control himself. He has no self-control. This character, this individual. Okay, so all of these names are based on something. Mandrake, I told you, is the herb, the sedative and or fertility enhancing herb. Merkin, I told you what a merkin is. And then Strangelove. I still don't know exactly, like, what's the Strangelove? Between, love is supposed to happen between two people or two things. Like, he's a representative of a strange love. Dr. Strangelove, not just Mr., but Dr. Strangelove. Okay. And he's a fake, and he's no good. He's absolutely no good. He shouldn't be there, but he is. And then now, General Buck Turgidson. Look up the word turgid. What does it mean? Here it is. Coming to us from Oxford Languages. Okay. Turgid, swollen and distended or congested. Swollen and distended or congested. Excuse me. What does it mean if something is turgid? Okay, tell me, Google. Excessively embellished in style or language. Bombastic, pompous. Turgid prose. Being in a state of distension, swollen. Okay, so he's full of shit. Like when I think of a distended stomach, it's something, that needs to be emptied, right? Like something's wrong with your guts. Something's wrong with your intestines. Like you're not okay. You need some fiber. You need some laxative. You need to, go eat some celery or something. You need to get your roughage. If you're turgid. I don't know. And this character, he's absolutely unreliable. Terrible. It's like, how did he get that job? He really doesn't have what it takes to be somebody with that much power and that much importance and somebody in charge of making such important decisions. So what Stanley is telling us is that the people who run things, or at least, no, the people who maybe don't run things, but the people who have been given the responsibility of carrying out the orders of the people who really make decisions and really run things, these people are not reliable. You just know they're not okay. So Turgidson is like slap up the wall crazy in his own way. And here we go, Sterling Hayden as Brigadier General Jack D. Ripper, a paranoid commander of Burpelson, more like burp. Okay, burp, turgid, distended. Wait a minute. So like, what is all this digestive talk? Like all these allusions to the human digestive system. Okay, paranoid commander of Burpelson Air Force Base, which is part of the Strategic Air Command. Okay. And Jack D. He said paranoid. Oh no, that's not the word. I mean, I don't know what the word is, but paranoid doesn't cover it all. Jack D. Ripper, he crazy. He's absolutely insane. And like a lot of conspiracy theorists, I believe that they get a lot of their source material from this movie. The conspiracy theory thing that started happening, like, during the 60s, 70s, 80s, and really took off in the late 90s and early 2000s because of the internet. I think a lot of it comes from this movie. Really, I do. And I don't know if I've been clear about this before, but I don't really believe in conspiracy theory. I think they're yet another distraction. All right? I don't trust them. the fact that we all know about them means that it's not a secret. If everybody can read about it or watch videos about it, that means that it is not secret or privileged information. All right. I have my favorites. Yes, I love me some Dave McGowan. I do. But I'm trying to see past all of that. All right. I told you. I said what I said about McGowan. Okay. So Jack D. Ripper. He's not okay in the head. He's just not. Keenan Wynn, Colonel Batguano, the army officer who finds Mandrake and Ripper. Oh, he's weird. He's got a limited role, but I mean, it's important. Jack Creeley as Mr. Staines. Oh, for God's sake. All right, so Jack D. Ripper, he's named after, well, we know the original Jack the Ripper. Nobody found out who he really was, the murderer in London, England. He killed, was it 5 prostitutes? And not only, if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me in the comments. I can't wait for the comments on this video. I know this is maybe a little bit boring because it's not action-packed like my normal videos. No, this is a nice slow one. But Jack the Ripper in London, England at the turn of the century or whenever he was doing his murdering, he would kill these poor women, all right, and then he would slice them up. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember watching a documentary about it years ago. He would cut up the women and mess around with their internal organs. And he wouldn't take the organs with him. He just liked to play with them, so to speak. But the only one he would take that was missing, and I don't know if he took it, but it was missing from the collection of the woman's organs, was the uterus. He would take his victim's uterus with him. Or it seems that way. It was missing. For, I don't know if it was just the last victim or all 5. But, and I think that was it. Like, was it the uterus and either all of the ladies or one of the ladies' wedding rings? Oh, that's very symbolic. That's very heavily symbolic. So Jack, I mean, was Stanley aware of this? Did Stanley know that about Jack the Ripper, that he must have known, that he was a murderer, when he happened, how it happened. He probably saw the crime scene photos, especially that last one. And maybe he read somewhere that he took the uterus as kind of like a trophy, a hunting trophy. That's Jack D. Ripper. That's who our paranoid commander of Burpelson Air Force Base is. Okay, Brigadier General. And that's who Mandrake is squaring off against. Mandrake is trying to protect the feminine force or the feminine principle in nature. Ripper wants it gone. Ripper is extremely concerned with the masculine force. He couldn't give a damn about life, which is what fertility is for making life. Mandrake is about fertility. It's about being calm and relaxed and about, making babies, helping women be fertile so they can make babies. Jack D. Ripper, the exact opposite. And also, I will mention this. If you watch the movie, you know what happens to Jack D. Ripper. Brigadier General Jack D. Ripper. He ends up shooting himself. Can you think of another Stanley Kubrick movie where somebody shoots themselves? I know I can. Full Metal Jacket. The Private Pyle character in the loo, right? In the bathroom that I still, I saw Delta, I saw your video, it was marvelous, but I still think that's an impossible room. The toilet room. I don't know. But that's where Private Pyle does what he does. And oh my God, not Terry Southern, but the author of 2 Hours to Doom or Red Alert or whatever you want to call it, he ended up doing that to himself too. With a gun. when he was 42. Oh my God, what the hell? Okay. Keenan Wynn is bat guano. Like I said, bat guano, isn't that one of the main ingredients of gunpowder? I'm just saying. All right. He finds Mandrake and Ripper, and very subtly accuses Mandrake of being a prevert. A prevert. Okay. Jack Creeley, Mr. Staines' national security advisor. I don't really know very much about that character, but he's there. Okay. Slim Pickens, whose real name was not Slim, it was Lewis Burton Lindley Jr., better known by his stage name Slim Pickens, was an American actor and rodeo performer. Interesting. Anyway, Mr. Pickens plays Major T.J. I don't know what the T or the J stand for, but T.J. King Kong. Kong. The B-52 bomber's commander and pilot. He's in charge of that plane. All right? And King Kong. Who was King Kong? A big ape. So, what is Stanley saying? That the people, that's how the military or the powers that be, that's how they view the soldiers in the armed forces, as basically as monkeys. Apes. Mindless like apes who are there just to carry out orders. Not to do any thinking of their own. No. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. So, like, yeah, King Kong. That's a commentary on how the powers that be view us ordinary people who, like I say, we just get up in the morning and go to work and do our thing so we can pay bills, so we can live and sleep indoors. Ay, ay, ay. And then Peter Bullis, Soviet Ambassador Alexei de Sadetsky. Okay, so that's a reference to the Marquis de Sade and sadism. All right, Sadetsky. All right. I'll just leave it at that. He's not a good character, but he takes advantage of the, at the end of the movie, the United States, they're thinking up their little underground mine shaft plan. Is that what it is? And he's busy taking pictures. And it's like, what is he doing? The whole world is going to explode. Why are you taking spy photographs, Mr. Sadetsky? Like, what good is that going to be? The doomsday machine has been activated, as far as I can tell. Like, those photos aren't going to help nobody. All right. Anyway, James Earl Jones as Lieutenant Lothar Zog, the B-52's bombardier. Okay, cool. It's not, he doesn't get a lot of screen time, but it's like really good screen time. And the guys in the B-52, it's like, they're ordinary people. Whether it's Kong or Lieutenant Zog or Captain Ace Owens, the whole crew of the B-52, like, they're nice people. You like them. They work together, and what's-his-face, Kong, gets on the thing and he says, we're all in this together, guys. We're gonna work together and do what we need to do. Doesn't matter what you come from. Doesn't matter what your race is. Like, we're all together here. It was like a really nice speech. And I was like, oh, that's nice. These are good people. They are good people. The people, like, giving them orders, I don't know about them. I really don't. But, okay, there's James Earl Jones. Rest in peace, sir. And this one, the hoe. All right, there's always a hoe. There's always a hoe in a Stanley Kubrick movie. And in this one, the only female character, mind you. The only female character. Captain Mandrake, he's a close second, but he's not female, he's male, but he's taking up for the female of the species. But he's not female. He's just advocating for women. But this one, oh, she ain't no good. Tracy Reed as Miss Scott, General Turgidson, the bloated one, General Turgidson's secretary and mistress. The film's only female character. She also appears, get this, y'all. I don't know if you knew this. I didn't. But she also appears as Miss Foreign Affairs, the Playboy Playmate in Playboy's June 1962 issue, which Major Kong is shown perusing at one point. Okay, so she's the only female character. She's General Turgidsen's secretary, and another person too. Somebody named Freddie. She's messing with Freddie too, not just what's his face? Buck Turgidsen. She's messing with Freddie too. All right, and neither one seems to know about it. She's juggling two generals, seems like, and neither one knows that she's, Freddie thinks that she's with General Turgidsen at 3 o'clock in the morning, wherever the hell they are, just, fulfilling her official secretarial function. Really? Okay, and she happens to be a Playboy Playmate. Miss Foreign Affairs. Oh, there's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot to talk about there. And then, of course, Shane Rimmer, I already mentioned him, but Shane Rimmer as Captain Ace Owens, the co-pilot of the B-52. Okay, listen, y'all. I'm going to have to take another little coffee break. I think you all need to replenish your cups, too. There's a lot. Isn't there? There's a lot. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know where I'm going to go for the... I think I'm going to go ahead... Hold on. Where's the script? There's the script. There's the script. Maybe I should have taken requests, but like, what part of the movie do you want me to concentrate on? It's like, it doesn't matter what part of the movie you concentrate on, really. Stanley is trying to tell us something's wrong with the world. The powers that be don't care if they kill us all. That's what he's trying to tell us. Our lives mean nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. All right. But I don't know if I should focus on like Miss Scott. Get it? Get it, Miss Scott? Say that quickly. Miss Scott. Mascot. Like a mascot for anything, like a sports team or whatever. The school mascot, whatever. That's what she is. She might as well be a dog. All right. And she's not a positive character. And that's where the misogyny thing comes from with Stanley. People see her or characters like her, characters like Alice and Eyes Wide Shut, and they think, oh, Stanley Kubrick just really hates women. He thinks we're all a bunch of sneaky, underhanded, self-serving hoes. No, he doesn't feel that way at all. Maybe I should cover that part. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a clearer idea after I've had another cup of coffee. I suggest you do the same. Go fill up your cup again. Get another snack. Why don't you? And I'll be right back. So hold on, you guys. Okay, everybody, I'm back. Had a little coffee. Hope you did too. So like, where do we begin? I've talked to you about the original book, Red Alert, by Peter George. I talked about Terry Southern and his contributions to the script. Good Lord. Talked about the characters, what the meanings of their names are incredibly important. All right. And Miss Scott. Yeah, I talked about Miss Scott. We don't know her first name either. It's just Miss Scott. Again, you say that quickly, it sounds like mascot. She's a hoe. She really is. She's in Playboy. Yeah, and we don't see the full frontal part of her body. We just see her back. That's what, what's his face? Major Kong is looking at in the airplane when he's looking at Playboy magazine. It's not, you can't see her breasts. You can't see her downstairs area. No, you see her back. She's got her back turned to him. In the photograph, in the, is it a centerfold or whatever? I don't know. But, so, I don't know when Playboy started doing like full frontal nudity. I don't know if that was like in the 70s or in the 50s or whatever, but we can't see Miss Foreign Affairs's naughty parts. You could just see her back. And that means that whatever she represents, this character, the secretary, Miss Scott, the hoe, whatever she is, whatever it is that she represents, is not available to people who are in the same class as Major Kong, or Captain Owens, or Lieutenant Zog. Okay, because they're low class. They're very low down on the totem pole. They might be underneath the totem pole. So she's available to people like General Turgidson and whoever she's messing around with behind Turgidson's back, Freddy, who I assume is another general. She's juggling 2 boyfriends. And what's her face? Hold on, wait a minute. Let me go to that part of the movie. Let's just start talking about this. Let me start there. All right, because she's the only female character. That means she's extremely important. And whatever it is that she represents, even though we only see her for like a couple of minutes on screen total, that doesn't mean she's not important. She's extremely important. Hold on. But before I get to Miss Scott, look at this. I told you about this. This is the first thing we see. Columbia and the Columbia Pictures lady with her what is that, torch? All right. Columbia, Lady Columbia, whatever she's called, she represents the United States of America. And she's called Columbia because she's named after Christopher Columbus. Based on what I read, I could be wrong. And she's holding a torch here, kind of like the Statue of Liberty. But in a lot of other depictions, she's carrying a sword. She's violent. She's ready to fight. Okay, kind of like the goddess Athena or Minerva, right? That's the first. I mean, she's not a character in the movie, but she's the only other female figure we see, other than Miss Scott, the hoe. All right. And that's what she represents. Columbia represents the United States. And so does President Merkin Muffley. He represents the United States too. And I told you, Merkin is a toupee for the ladies' private parts to cover up disease. Syphilis. All right, because she's been around the block. And she got some syphilis. And it's ugly down there. That's what, okay, so they both represent the United States. Columbia. She's not necessarily a positive character. Now, is she? Now, let me find what's her face. Hold on. Okay, I guess this is going to have to be good enough. Because I'm not very good at redballing this particular thing. There she is. That's Miss Scott. She's wearing a bikini. All right, which doesn't seem so weird, except in the movie, she's wearing a bikini at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. And we don't see the room that she's in. We do not see the room that she's in. Other than in the mirror. And we know Stanley has a thing for mirrors. And here she is in her bikini. And you can't see it here, but she's wearing a bikini and high heels. All right. Now, speaking as a woman, the only situation I can think of where a woman would wear a bikini and high heels is where she's trying to show off. You're not going to wear high heels to the swimming pool or to the beach, which is where you would wear a bathing suit of whatever kind, whether it's a bikini or a onesie or whatever. No, if you're wearing a swimsuit, especially a bikini, and high heels, that means that you are putting yourself on display. All right, and she's wearing sunglasses. What the hell are those for? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. There ain't no sun. There ain't no sun at 3 o'clock in the morning, unless I don't know what's going on. Like, are they in the northern hemisphere during summertime? Like, I doubt it. Like, not the northern hemisphere, but like in the Arctic Circle. I doubt it. Okay, but there she is. She's wearing, and I don't know what kind of pattern this is on her bikini. Is that plaid or is it something else? I'm just not sure. Okay, but her body is elongated and very thin. Okay, so much has been made of, the media, the pressure for women to be thin and whatever, which is, I'm not advocating for obesity. Please don't get me wrong. But, as a young girl growing up in the United States, in the Western world, in the last part of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century, we all thought we had to be as thin as supermodels. Okay, and that is not easy to achieve at all. But that aesthetic, that long, narrow body, it has nothing to do with sexiness. It has to do with discipline. Some people are naturally thin, male or female. Some people are just naturally thin like that, especially when they're young. But most of us are not. And if we have access to food, we're going to put on weight. And that's that. So having this kind of figure and maintaining this kind of figure for like 90 or so % of the population, again, whether you're male or female, especially past a certain age, that is work. That is hard work. That is saying no to food a lot, and or spending a lot of time exercising, and or, using surgical intervention, whether it's some kind of weight loss surgery or chemicals, medications like diet pills, appetite suppressants, Ozempic nowadays. It's work. And in either case, it's not going to be fun. Getting to this point, getting to be as thin as this woman is, you're going to suffer. And this has to do with like that Protestant work ethic and that Puritan idea about food and, your body. And this goes back to the ancient world, where in the ancient world, and now too, you judge a person based on their looks. We do it. We do, even though we think we don't do it, we do it because we've been trained to do it. And people think of, if somebody is not stick thin, or if they're not beautiful physically, we are taught to believe that that is a moral failing, that that person is just fucking lazy, or, sloppy, greedy, gluttonous. And it goes back again to religion. Those things that I just mentioned, a couple of them are one of the 7 deadly sins, which are not in the Bible. By the way, I'm pretty sure the 7 deadly sins, everything we're not supposed to be, according to Christianity, none of that is in the Bible. No. But there she is, tall and very narrow. Okay. And she's on the phone. And before this scene, before she gets on the phone, she was lying down on the bed, and they got twin beds in this room, which is weird. Very weird. And this room where they are, which you just go ahead and assume that it's a hotel room because they got a food table, a food cart in the back. Like, why a twin bed? It doesn't make sense. And there's her purse. Oh, sorry about that. Her purse is right here. There's a little clock here. There's the phone here. And what is this back here? I just noticed this. Again, I've only watched this movie once. That's a mink coat, or like a fur kind of coat. It looks to me like that's what it is. And I'm pretty sure it's not General Turgidsen's coat. It's probably hers. And it was probably a gift from him. Okay? Whew. And is this like, this back here, again, reflected in the mirror, is that, and I can't see it because like her butt's in the way, but, is that like for champagne? Is that a champagne bucket? I don't know. But she's on the phone. They're contacting General Turgidsen because all hell done broke loose, and what's his face, Ripper, activate, like he pushed the button and whatever, which it doesn't make sense. The only person who, unless Stanley is trying to tell us something, the only person that I can think of who has the power to push the button is the president. And that's like wherever he goes, him and the vice president, wherever they go, they're followed by that man who's carrying that kind of big boxy suitcase. That's the nuclear football with the nuclear codes. They're the only people authorized. As far as I know. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. Correct me. I welcome it. But she's taking a phone call. She's wearing sunglasses and a bikini and high-heeled shoes. None of that makes sense. But when we see her, when this scene opens, she is on the bed. She's lying on her stomach on the bed, under a tanning lamp. She's trying, just like in the Playboy photo of her, where she's lying on her stomach and we can see her bare back. It's very similar here too. She's lying on her stomach. Of course, she's got her bikini on, but she's getting like what do they call those damn things? It's not a tanning bed. It's just a lamp that's meant to simulate sunlight, which is supposed to darken the skin. Okay? Give you a tan. Indoors. At 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what she's doing to pass the time. While, what's-his-face, Turgidson is, as she says it, in the powder room. And he comes out later and he's in swim trunks. And it's like, wait a minute, are they going swimming at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, what kind of place is this? If it's a hotel, what kind of hotel is it? Why the hell would they be going to the swimming pool? If it is a swimming pool, 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's wearing high heels, and she's dressed to impress. And there's her mink coat over there. And here's her purse, which she's keeping close to her. All right. Like, why would you keep your purse close to you? Like, you put your purse on a chair somewhere and just leave it there, unless there's something in there that's very important to you, because later she gets a cigarette out of here. What kind of situation is this? What kind of place is this? Is this place, wherever they are, very similar to what I think the Overlook Hotel in The Shining is, which is, a brothel? Is it some kind of specialty resort, if you know what I mean? Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. And this woman is juggling two men. She's not faithful to General Turgidson. She's talking on the phone with Freddie, who's obviously another, high-ranking military official who wants to get a hold of Turgidson because all hell has broken loose, because Ripper pushed the button, whatever. And, what the hell is going on? And why is this woman so, just grimy? Why does she have two men that she's carrying on an affair with, and she's in Playboy magazine? I mean, there's no other way to put it. She's morally questionable. And she is the mascot. She's this and what is Stanley trying to tell us with this Miss Scott character? He's trying to tell us that this is the kind of woman that mythologically and culturally and historically, that's the kind of woman that is featured in art, whether it's Playboy magazine or whatever kind of art throughout the ages. She's the symbol. She's the idol that is shown to people. This is the reason why people fight wars. For whatever it is that this character represents, and whatever it is that this character and others like her have represented historically, going all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia and the goddess Inanna. The goddess Inanna was a slut too. Okay? And this militaristic thing that we got going on in this world, it goes all the way back to the cradle of civilization. It goes all the way back to the land between two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. It goes all the way back to the invention of writing. It goes all the way back to the invention of agriculture. It goes all the way back to the first appearance of what we now call religion. And Inanna was a major thing that they worshipped back then. like the first work of literature, the first, as far as we know, the first time writing was used for something artistic, like writing a story. It was done by Enheduanna, the daughter of Sargon, and she wrote the epic poem about Inanna's descent into the underworld. And Inanna was beautiful. She was the goddess of war and civilization. Okay. And I don't know about fertility, but I mean, that's what I've heard, that she was like a fertility figure. And she would, go, how should I put this? Sleep with, so to speak, hundreds of men a day. So this Miss Scott character, then Inanna has been the mascot for things like war and civilization and whatever since then. And she's just, depending on what culture, she just changes the character. They just change the character a little bit, give her a new name, give her a new wardrobe, but it's the same thing. It's the same, like, civilization and war goddess. In ancient Mesopotamia, it's Inanna, and then Ishtar, and then it's Isis in ancient Egypt, and then they kind of divide it up in Greece. It's not just one figure, and it's not one figure in Egypt either. But in Greece, we get, what's her face, Aphrodite and Athena. And then in Norse mythology, we get characters like Freya. Like, that's who we're looking at. And even in the Bible, we have figures like Eve and or Lilith. We blame all of our problems on them. In the very first book of the Old Testament. Eve, and then like Lilith, I don't know if she was ever really in there or if she just got edited out. But Lilith is supposed to be the disobedient one. Like Eve was obedient. Like, God told her don't eat that fruit, but she did it anyway. But, this is the feminine principle that Stanley's talking about. Is Stanley saying all women are like this? Oh, good heavens, no. No, he's saying this is an invention. A woman like this, whether it's Inanna, Ishtar, Isis, Athena, Aphrodite, Freya, whoever, these women are inventions. They're artistic inventions, and they are the reason why men go into these wars and die. This is what's held up before them as it's supposed to inspire them to be willing to give up their lives. Just like, oh, good Lord, wait a minute. Major Kong. He's looking at a picture of her, but she's turned her back to him in that picture, which he can look at her, but he'll never be able to like enjoy her the way Turgidson can, because Turgidson has ascended the ranks, not because he's qualified, not because he's wise, not because he's, thinks before he speaks or thinks before he acts. No, but because he's crazy. That's why he's there. Somebody like a Turgidson. Like Merkin Muffley, he seems a little bit more like in control. Stanley, he did it again. And he's not talking, we're talking about like a nuclear bomb. We're talking about what's in this movie called The Doomsday Machine. Okay? But he's not so much, and I say his movies are about the nuclear bomb because there's something about that he wants us to know. He wants us to think about that long and hard about the nuclear bomb and like what is really going on with that shit. He really does. He wants us to meditate on that. But in this movie, he wants us not so much to, it's there. The nuclear bomb and everything else, it's there. But he's not really concentrating on that too much. It doesn't matter how you destroy the world. The characters in this movie. It doesn't matter what they're going to use to destroy the world. The point is that it is within their capability. They can destroy the world if they want to. And there are supposed to be all kinds of fail-safes and whatever to make sure that they don't destroy the world for no good reason, frivolously. But a lot of help those are when you get somebody like, Jack D. Ripper. Okay. Who hates women. That the historical character that this name is based on obviously really couldn't stand women and really couldn't stand prostitutes. Because, look what he did to them. Like, so Miss Scott better watch her ass around people like Jack D. Ripper. Okay. I hope she's carrying on with Turgidson and whoever the hell Freddie is. We don't see Freddie, we just hear about him. Okay, she's on a first name basis with Freddie. He's also like somebody in the military, but she calls him Freddie. And she calls what's-his-face Ferguson, she calls him Buck or Bucky. Oh my God. Really disgusting. But that's what's going on. So this movie isn't really about the bomb or the fact that it's so destructive or like who made it and why. That's, again, doesn't matter. Like what I always like to say, that's what Hannibal Lecter calls incidental. Like, it exists. As far as we know, the atomic bomb exists. Okay, based on what we've been told and the pictures we've been shown and the whole thing, the atomic bomb exists. Somebody invented it, somebody made it, they used it, not once but twice in Japan. Okay, that's not what this movie is about. The Shining is about that. This movie is about, like, what the hell is going on? Why was such a destructive weapon created? That's why. Her. This is why. Miss Scott. And again, she's not a real woman. She's not an actual person. She's a character in a movie. And a character in the movie who represents something historically, something to do with history, mythology, economics, psychology. Jack D. Ripper, I don't know if you noticed in the movie, hold up. Where is he? There he is. Look at that. Very often, he's got a cigar in his mouth. Y'all. What do they say about Freud and Freudian symbolism? Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And sometimes it's not. Okay? I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. And this movie had me looking up all kinds of stuff about ancient Greece and the way they did war. Ooh, it was educational. I suggest you do the same. But yeah, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, eh? Yeah, right. Wait, is he there again? Look at him. Oh, look at the way he's holding that microphone. I'm not going to skip to that because, like, I don't have the time. But also what I wanted to... Oh, there's Mandrake trying to... And there's Ripper with a cigar. Okay, and look at all those guns on the wall. Oh, my goodness. We're going to talk about this in the future. This is just the first one. This is just my first video about this. You know there's going to be more. You know there's going to be more. I wanted to say something and then I forgot. Ay, ay, ay. I'm so sorry. George C. Scott does a pretty good job in this movie. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. All right. Jack D. Ripper. Is he like Animal Mother? Because I see these rows of bullets that he's fitting to use in the movie. Is he like Animal Mother in Full Metal Jacket? Like, this movie and Full Metal Jacket and I think Paths of Glory are movies that like deal specifically with the military and war and stuff like that. And he's still got the cigar in his mouth. Oh my goodness. Gosh, I have to think about this for a second. There's a lot going on. So this movie isn't about the weapon, the Zayin. No. Or maybe it is. But it's not about the Zayin like it is in the other movies. It's not the atomic bomb Zayin. This is about these human relationships, the way these characters, all of them that I read off to you, the way they interact with each other and the reasons for that interaction and like what's going on. And when, Merkin is talking to the premier of, what is it, the USSR, like, those conversations are kind of hilarious, but again, not in a laugh out loud kind of way. It's more like, wow, the people who run the world are like emotional basket cases. You wouldn't trust, I told you wouldn't trust him to guard a lamppost. Nothing. I don't know. I just don't know. And again, the only female character we see is her. This is why everything is happening. Because this figure, this female figure, and everything she represents historically, whether it's Inanna, whether it's Venus, whether it's Isis, whether it's Freya, whether it's like whatever, whether it's Columbia, I just showed you her, all these female figures, they are used to manipulate people. Both men and women, but especially men. Men, allegedly, that this is a dialogue that's been going on social media with regard to this individual, Dave Grohl. Oh, he's a pig, and all men are pigs. And like, if you look at Instagram, if you look at Threads, if you look at Twitter, if you look at whatever, oh, he's just a pig, and all men are the same, and men can't stand women. And, like Blanche Devereaux said in The Golden Girls, why do men cheat? And Blanche says it's the same reason a dog licks himself, because he can. And this is what we're supposed to think about men. If we're female, this is what we're supposed to think about men. And if you're male, this is what you're supposed to think about women. That's what Stanley is addressing in this movie. He's not addressing the Zayn. He's addressing, like, what the Zayn has done to us. It doesn't matter what kind of Zayn it's been throughout history. It doesn't have to be the atomic bomb. It can be a sword. It can be a gun. It could be a tank. It could be a rock. It could be a spear. It could be anything that is capable of causing harm or killing somebody is a Zayn. A weapon. Okay? This is what the weapons have done to us. And in order for the weapons to really work, we have to hold those beliefs about each other. We have to hate each other. We really have to hate each other. Men and women have to hate each other. Men have to hate her, even though they're supposed to desire her, and we women are supposed to try and be like her. Okay? And women are supposed to hate him. Even though, for a lot of women, like, the goal is to marry somebody like him. I don't know why. In today's world, I really don't know why. But this is what's going on here. And again, I need to look up Dave McGowan and see whether or not he mentions the food fighters. I think he does. And I'll come back to you with that. Because this story isn't going away anytime soon. This man, like, really made an ass of himself. Publicly. Like, really publicly. And, like, it wouldn't have been that bad if he had just behaved normally. If he hadn't tried to present himself as like a rock and roll ward cleaver. You know what I mean? Like, that was the image. That was the media image of this guy, that he's like just a wonderful family man. And, and he loves, barbecuing or whatever. No. If he hadn't built himself up like that in the media, he wouldn't be facing this kind of a backlash. And I mean, I could talk about that some other time, but this has been in the news. Every time I open up social media and look at it, there he is. There's another, like, report about this guy and his, the current scandal, and his wife and his children and his baby's mama and all this stuff. It is fucking comical. It is, I don't care what he does in his private life. It's none of my business. But the fact that, like, you could still shock people with a good sex scandal is, like, that boggles my mind. That absolutely boggles my mind. So anyway, That's what Stanley's talking about. It's not the weapon itself. It's not the Zayn itself. Because whatever the Zayn has been throughout history, there's always been one. You know, he shows us in 2001 in the prehistoric world with those, you know, creatures. They use bones to hit each other. And now we're using atomic bombs. Not necessarily to hit each other, but to scare each other. But, you know, and then here she is. I can't get over her. I really can't get over this character. And Stanley chose her brilliantly. And the character itself, Miss Scott, brilliantly. She's wearing sunglasses. Where's the sun? She turned off the heat lamp. The suntan lamp. And she's got an animal skin. Do you see this? She's got, you know, the mink coat in the background. That's hers. I think it's a mink coat. What else could it be? That's an animal skin. We're going back to prehistory. We're going back to hunter-gatherer society. Stanley is not playing at 3 o'clock in the morning. She's already living in a bunker of some kind. If she needs a tanning lamp, and she's tanning herself at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, in the movie they talk about going underground at the end, and like that whole ridiculous male fantasy, alleged male fantasy about, you know, 10 women for every one man. Oh, Stanley, I'm telling you, he holds men in contempt. He figures that women just have to deal with the bullshit that men put them through. And then, I don't think I'm saying that. I don't think that's biased on my part because I'm female. Like, he seems to really have absolutely nothing but disdain and contempt and disgust for the male characters in this movie. The ones that he has the least disgust for are the people who are piloting the B-52. But all these people in the war room, and characters like Colonel Batguano, and who else? You know, the Soviet guy. Strangelove, of course, he has the most contempt for Strangelove. I mean, he has contempt for Strangelove, Merck and Muffley, Buck Turgidson, Ripper, and like, he has more or less, I think Stanley had more or less contempt for all of these male characters, other than the B-52 bombardiers, and what they represent. This man was not a misogynist. He wanted to preserve life, and he wanted the world to be a better place for everybody. And I truly believe that completely counter to like what people are saying about him, whether it's Sneezy or that idiot Bjork or whoever they say that he was a misogynist, sexist. No, he was the exact opposite. He wasn't a feminist because he knew what that was too. He knew that was just another scam, another put on. But I do believe he really truly loved women in general. And he wanted life to be better for women. And I think he probably felt bad for women that they got to put up with this shit. That they got to put up with the kind of men that are in this movie. And, you know, this great big turd over here. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. I can't wait to hear what you guys, or read rather, what you guys have to say in the comments. I've been talking for an hour and 43 minutes, going on 44 minutes. I don't know whether or not I said anything. I will come back to this. I will. I can't. It's going to be in my mind. Just like 2001 is in my mind. Just like FMJ is in my mind. Just like Eyes Wide Shut is in my mind. Just like Shining. Like, yeah. 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 There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Stanley is coming for them. Stanley is going for their throat. And they don't know it. They didn't know it. They didn't see it coming. And even if they could see it coming, they couldn't do a thing about it. Because he took lousy books and turned them into magnificent movies. With the exception of Nabokov and Lolita. Nabokov was the only author whose work that he created or converted into a movie that he respected. Okay? And because Nabokov felt the same way about him when it came to the way women are treated, almost universally on this planet. So that's what I have to say. I want to talk more about Mandrake. I want to analyze the dialogue between Mandrake and Ripper. Here's the script. Right. Dr. Strangelove by Stanley Kubrick. Terry Southern, based on the novel Red Alert by Peter George. Okay. Fade in. Dense cloud cover. Rocky peaks visible in the distance. Rocky peaks, eh? That's where the gods live. In all these mythologies, gods live on top of mountains. Yup. Should I read the narrator thing from the beginning? Why not? For more than a year, ominous rumors have been privately circulating among high-level Western leaders that the Soviet Union had been at work on what was darkly hinted to be the ultimate weapon, a doomsday device. Intelligence sources trace the site of the top-secret Russian project to the perpetually fog-shrouded wasteland below the Arctic peaks of the Zhukov Islands. What they were building, or why it should be located in such a remote and desolate place, no one could say. Oh my God. I need to okay, you see that? Oof. Doomsday device. What is the doomsday device? Do we have a clear idea? Shall I keyword search the word doomsday in this script? Let me go ahead and do that. Hold on. Okay, y'all. There it is. 12 mentions of the word doomsday. So that first one is in the narrator portion. Where else? Dostoevsky, the doomsday machine. Muffley, the doomsday machine. What is that? A device, Dostoevsky, excuse me. A device which will destroy all human and animal life on Earth. Okay. Which will destroy all human and animal life on Earth. Interesting. Which has me going back to, remember the last part of the movie where all these people in the war room are talking about how they're going to live underground and do nothing but have sex for hundreds of years? And Dostoevsky is like, and he takes out his little watch and he starts taking pictures of stuff. Why would he do that if the whole world is doomed? There's really no reason for him to be taking pictures of that board and all the points on the board and everything in the war room if, everything's going to hell. See what I mean? Okay. All right. Let's see. The Doomsday Machine. Dostoevsky. Cobalt thorium G has a radioactive half-life of 93 years. If you take, say, 50 H-bombs in the 100 megaton range and jacket them with cobalt thorium G, when they are exploded, they will produce a doomsday shroud. What the hell is cobalt thorium G? You all need to help me. I'm going to look it up eventually, but still. Will produce a doomsday shroud. Shroud is what you wrap a dead body in, at least in the ancient world. Okay. A lethal cloud of radioactivity, which will encircle the Earth for 93 years. And Turgidson, what does he say in response to Dostoevsky's explanation? Cobalt thorium G. What the hell? What the fucking... Oh my God. Wait a minute. They're still talking about the doomsday device. Okay, so Mandrake. Okay, we're going to... Ripper, Mandrake, come over here. The redcoats are coming. The redcoats are coming. Oh, Ripper. And the redcoats are, they were British, and so is Mandrake. Okay. Dostoevsky, when it is detonated, it will produce enough lethal radioactive fallout so that within 10 months the surface of the Earth will be as dead as the moon. Okay, and Turgidson replies, "Oh, come on, Dostoevsky, that's ridiculous. Our studies show that even the worst fallout is down to a safe level after 2 weeks." Okay. 2 weeks, huh? Really? Two weeks. So what Dostoevsky is saying that, you know, forget fallout. You're talking about nuclear fallout, Turgidson. You're talking about nuclear fallout when they drop the atomic bomb. And Dostoevsky's like, no, this ain't your piddly little atomic bomb. This is something else. He says to Turgidson, you've obviously never heard of cobalt thorium G, which I might just look up. Since I'm doing this video, I might as well. You've obviously never heard of cobalt thorium G. Turgidson, no. What about it? Dostoevsky, okay, I told you about the doomsday shroud. A lethal cloud of radioactivity which will encircle the earth for 93 years. Okay, here comes Turgidson. Ah, what a load of commie bull. I mean, after all. Whew. Muffly. I'm afraid I don't understand something, Alexei. Is the Premier threatening to explode this if our planes carry out their attack? Dostoevsky. No, sir. It is not a thing a sane man would do. Which is exactly what the United States did in World War II. They dropped the atomic bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So the United States was not sane, is what we're I think, supposed to hear when Dostoevsky says that. The doomsday machine is designed to trigger itself automatically. Oh my God. So, like, you know, the Ruskies, they don't even need a nuclear football. They got something that just starts working on its own. Oh my God. Muffly. But surely you can disarm it somehow. Dostoevsky, no. It is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it. To untrigger it. Holy shit. Damn it, Stanley. I'll read that again. No. It is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it. Do you know what that means? Y'all, I told you we need to concentrate on the dialogue in this movie. Don't forget the pictures, no, but, you know, the pictures are important. Stanley Kubrick and the way he photographs his films is extremely important. And continuity differences, yes, Richard, yes. But this dialogue, though, my God in heaven. It is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it. Muffly. Automatically? Question mark? And Turgidson says, it's an obvious commie trick, Mr. President. We're wasting valuable time. Falls over backwards and does a somersault and brings himself back onto his feet. Well. Look at the big board. They're getting ready to clobber us. Oh my God. And Muffly says, but this is absolute madness, Ambassador. Why should you build such a thing? And here comes Dostoevsky. There are those of us who fought against it. But in the end, we could not keep up with the expense involved in the arms race, the space race, and the peace race. And at the same time, our people grumbled for more nylons and washing machines. They wanted to live. Okay, yeah, that's that. Our doomsday scheme cost us just a small fraction of what we'd been spending on defense in a single year. More clues, you guys. Our doomsday scheme cost us just a small fraction of what we'd been spending on defense in a single year. But the deciding factor was when we learned that your country was working along similar lines, and we were afraid of a doomsday gap. Wow. What in the world is this? What in the world is going on here? Okay, you guys, I had to take a quick break. Had to think about this for a second. Something just hit me like a ton of bricks right upside my head. Ha 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 ha. Oh, I just read this little bit to you where, you know, the word doomsday is highlighted in yellow. This is Sadesky's, you know, line, and he's answering the question by Muffley. But this is absolute madness, Ambassador. Like the atomic bomb wasn't madness. Merkin. Why should you build such a thing? And his answer to that question is right here. There are those of us who fought against it, but in the end we could not keep up with the expense involved in the arms race, the space race, and the peace race. Oof. Peace race, huh? At the same time, our people grumbled for more nylons and washing machines. Who wears nylons? Usually it's women. I don't know. Maybe there are some men who wear nylons, but they're trying to look like women. So nylons are a female thing. And wash machines? Okay. If there's a woman in the house, the men are not going to be doing laundry. Let me just put it that way. At least, you know, traditional, old-fashioned men, they don't do laundry. Ever. Or make coffee, really. So that's why these, you know, my videos are coffee-themed. Our doomsday our doomsday scheme cost us, listen to this carefully, you guys. Our doomsday scheme cost us just a small fraction of what we'd been spending on defense in a single year. Now, this is the Ruskies now. This is the USSR, the Soviet Union. Our doomsday scheme cost us just a small fraction of what we'd been spending on defense in a single year. That's an extremely important line of the dialogue. Our doomsday scheme cost us just a small fraction of what we'd been spending on defense in a single year. I'm trying to say something without saying it. I don't know if you're, you know, hearing it, because I'm not saying it, but I hope you can hear it. But the deciding factor was when we learned that your country was working along similar lines and we were afraid of a doomsday gap. And Muffley says, this is preposterous. I've never approved of anything like that. But what about the atomic bomb, Muffley? Dostoevsky, our source was the New York Times. Oh, they've been trouble for a long time, haven't they? Okay, this is like way before Judith Miller. Remember her? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is it Judith or Julia? I'm not sure, but I think if you know, you know. All right. Oh my God, Maureen Dowd like skewered her. But never mind, that's another issue for another time. I told you I used to read, or maybe I didn't tell you, but I used to read the newspaper religiously. And then I stopped and I said, oh no, this is not good for me. Anyway, so here comes Strangelove in his wheelchair. A moment, please, Mr. President. Okay, stomps 1 foot on the tile floor, pushes back from the table, and begins wheeling towards the discussion between Muffley and Dostoevsky. And here comes Strangelove. Under the authority granted me as Director of Weapons Research and Development, I commissioned last year a study of this project by the Bland Corporation. Oh, really? Okay, Bland, right? Based on the findings of the report, my conclusion was that this idea was not a practical deterrent for reasons which, at this moment, must be all too obvious. Okay. All right, and here comes Merkin. He says, then you mean it is possible for them to have built such a thing? Strangelove carefully plucks a cigarette from his shaking right hand, which is in a black glove. Okay, so it's black. All right. And Strangelove says, Mr. President, the technology required is easily within the means of even the smallest nuclear power. It requires only the will to do so. Huh. And Muffley says, but how is it possible for this thing to be triggered automatically, and at the same time impossible to untrigger? Strangelove, Mr. President, it is not only possible, it is essential. This is the whole idea of this machine, you know. Deterrence is the art of producing in the mind of the enemy the fear to attack. And so, because of the automated and irrevocable decision-making process which rules out human meddling, the doomsday machine is terrifying. It's simple to understand and completely credible and convincing. Okay. I'm going to have to come back to this dialogue. I'm going to have to come back to this dialogue. Okay? Rules out human meddling. Yeah. Gee, I wish I had one of them doomsday machines, Stainsy. That's Turgidson talking. I don't know. I don't know. Strangelove. Yes, but the whole point of the doomsday machine is lost if you keep it a secret. Why didn't you tell the world, eh? That's Strangelove, addressing Sadisky. It was to be announced at the party congress on Monday. As you know, the premier loves surprises. Oh, dear God. Okay, so those are the mentions of the word doomsday. Doomsday, 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 doomsday. And one last one. Okay, Muffley. Oh, he's talking to the premier, Dmitri. Look, if this report is true and the plane manages to bomb the target, is this going to set off the doomsday machine? Oh my God. Oh my God. And now, what I do want to also bring to your attention, while I got you on the line, Robert. Okay, so the code has been initiated, right? Ripper. Mandrake. That's all I've been told. It just came in on the red phone. My orders are for this base to be sealed tight, and that's what I mean to do. Seal it tight. Now, I want you to transmit Plan R, R for Robert, to the wing. Plan R for Robert. Okay. Robert. Mandrake. Yes, sir. Plan R for Robert, sir. Okay. It's Robert. Plan Robert. When Mandrake and Ripper are talking about it, when the crew of the B-52 are talking about it, it's Attack Plan R, R for Romeo. Now, Robert, you know who I think Robert is referring to, right? Oppenheimer. Okay, that's what everybody calls him, Bob. Okay, Robert Oppenheimer. But that's what it's known as by the brass. But the actual soldiers, the pilots of the B-52, it's Plan R for Romeo. And Kong, Goldie, Major Kong. I know you're going to think this is crazy, but I just got a message from base over the CRM 114. It decodes as Wing Attack Plan R, R for Romeo. And Kong says, Goldie, did you say Wing Attack Plan R? Goldie says, yes, sir, I have. Goldie, how many times have I told you guys that I don't want no horsing around on the airplane? And Goldie says, I'm not horsing around, sir. That's how it decodes. And Kong just can't believe it because he knows what it means. R for Robert, R for Romeo. Now, Robert, I told you that's Oppenheimer. I'm convinced. Romeo, that's the name of the most famous lover in the history of literature. Like Romeo and Juliet. What does the name Romeo mean? I looked it up. Of course I did. It means somebody who's from Rome. Okay. Now, okay, we talked about the Doomsday Machine. 12 mentions of it in the script. All right. And now let's go look at this again. Okay. Dr. Strangelove. What's the full name of the movie? Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Okay? How I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb. Who is I? Is I Dr. Strangelove? Or is I somebody else? Is I you and me? Who is I? Is I Stanley? Who's I? Who is I? I must know. What the hell? I mean, I read a little bit about it in the pages about, by Peter George, about Peter George and Terry Southern. Who is I? And how did that I person learn to stop worrying and love the bomb? And I'm going to ask you one more time, why is Sadesky taking pictures when, if the doomsday machine is doing what it's supposed to do? Like, those pictures aren't going to help anybody. Do you feel me? I hope so. I hope so. Okay. How I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb. Okay, I think that's it for now. I think I've said enough. This is a good beginning. I don't know if I said anything. I really don't. I never know if I said anything. I said some stuff without saying it. All right. Something's going on. We're going to need to analyze this dialogue. It's important. I think I cracked a code. All right? I think I cracked a code. I'm not going to tell you what I think it is. Because just like Stanley, I think Stanley only meant for people who could see to be able to, do it. And I'm not saying I'm special, no. I'm just saying, I want to be true to Stanley. And Stanley, you will know in your heart if you figured it out. I know in my heart that I figured it out. Okay? So, I mean, Stanley's just telling you with this title, there's really no need for you to worry. Maybe that's the big secret. Maybe the big secret is that there is no secret. Maybe the mystery is that there is no mystery. Maybe everything's going to be all right. Yeah? I don't know. Let's hope so. Yeah? Let's hope so. We'll talk more about this. This is an incredibly important movie. I'm going to come back to 2001. I'm going to go back to FMJ, The Shining. Yes, I will. And like I said, next video is probably going to be about this Ministry song called Thieves. Thieves and Liars. And you look at the... something tells me Vivian was probably a fan of Ministry, and she told her father about it. But look at the cover art for this album. Just look at it. Look at, what does it look like at first? And then what do you, find out what it is when you finally zoom in? I think that, Al Jorgensen is clued in. I really do. So anyway, you guys, I think I've said everything I need to say for this first one. If you're with me, you're with me. If you're following me, you're following me. If you know, where I'm going with this and why, then you know. Then I don't have to, and I'm not going to explain that. I never will. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the one thing leads to another method of learning. Okay? Where's that? Her. Okay? And him. I really need to look him up, in Dave McGowan's work. I really need to. I might do a special video about that. Who knows? Who knows? But, okay, you guys. So, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. If you got this far, thank you. I appreciate it deeply and profoundly. You didn't have to get this far, but you did. And I think you're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I can't wait for the comments on this thing. I hope you enjoyed the coffee and the conversation and the etc., etc., and so on and so forth. Until next time, like I said, the next video is going to be about the Ministry song and what, that song. If you listen to it in my posts, you will see that he sampled lines from Full Metal Jacket. Okay? This was back in 1989. That's when that album was released. So I'll do that. That's going to be my next video. So until next time, you all. Until the next time, when I find yet another reason to talk at you, I'm going to go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.